Peace, family. Welcome to another episode Underground Railroad Productions. This your host, Brother Rich. I'm joined once again with the Blue Pillar. Welcome back, brother.
Peace, family. Peace to you and yours.
Yo, we really exploring these Brooklyn streets in the fall. We giving we got a global audience, so we giving the globe different backgrounds, different sceneries,
Backdrops, yes.
backdrops of Brooklyn. It's a beautiful borough, man. So,
Everybody's moving here, so we thought we figured that we'd bring you, an insider's look into our beautiful borough, so you would know why everybody's making this their home destination. All right?
I gotta give the artists some love. Let me just focus in on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, this is our hip-hop tradition and hip-hop's 44-year anniversary. What differentiates art on the side of a building from graffiti? You know what I'm saying? Is it wiry lettering? Where does the line between graffiti and art, where do them lines,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, mesh
Right.
and meet, and one is not the other, what have you. So all around Brooklyn, you'll see murals. All around the city, you'll see murals. Shit, all around the country, you see murals on the side of buildings. All around the world, graffiti is a mainstay. Okay?
Indeed.
So it's celebrated almost everywhere other than the birthplace of hip-hop. And it's quietly celebrated here. They'll call it art, and outside of the spectrum of it being one of the branches of hip-hop, one of our recognized art forms.
I was just telling Red the other day, because I went to Spain last week. If anybody noticed, the activity on my YouTube channel has been slow lately.
Shit.
I was in Spain. I had to go to my homeboy's wedding. He made me a groomsman. I knew him from elementary school. And graffiti all through Spain.
Yeah, how
all
about
through
that?
Spain, from Madrid to Barcelona.
How about
I
that?
had to take a train from Madrid to Barcelona all the way, 4-hour ride, nothing but graffiti.
Nothing but graffiti.
All the way
And
through.
what you'll find is that a lot of these graffiti murals and what have you in other countries, they're actually sponsored by the government because they're part of the arts project.
Right, yeah.
They want the art in
They want
their
it
city
there.
because
Yeah.
art represents culture. You understand? So why would they not want to be associated with a $1 trillion culture that has moved world politics? You know what I'm saying? And global, entire, it's just a global phenomenon. But here at home, we got to deal with the ratchet aspect of it. So we're here to talk about that tonight.
Indeed. So I want to let's start with the show. It's kind of a weird story, Blue. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's doing private and investigative work on it.
Yeah, they call it sleuth reporting.
Okay. The story's real sketchy, real fishy. From what I'm hearing from everybody, the mother's saying that they're saying that, first of all, a young sister, Kanika Jenkins, body was found in a hotel freezer in Chicago.
Yes.
Let me just read this real quick. The mysterious death of a Chicago teen whose body was found in the freezer of a suburban hotel has sparked national outcry and questions about the circumstances surrounding her death. 19-year-old Kanika Jenkins left her home for a party September 8th, according to the Chicago Tribune. After her mother, Teresa Martin, demanded hotel staff search for her daughter, Jenkins' body was found in a hotel freezer of the Crowns Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel and Conference Center in Illinois. Blue, I'm hearing that.
Rest in peace to that baby.
I'm hearing that they broadcasted a live raping of her on Facebook Live, and they turned up the music to like drown out her screaming. I'm hearing her friend set her up for $200. I'm hearing the police said she was drunk and she walked into the freezer. I'm hearing a lot of different things, Blue. It don't sound good, but talk to the people, man. From what you read, what you could come up with this story. I'm hearing about organ harvesting. I'm hearing all types of things, Blue.
I'm hearing about R. Kelly. I'm hearing about sex trafficking rings in Chicago. This is a situation, this is one of those stories where it's bringing everything to the surface. It's bringing a lot of emotions to the surface. I woke up to the story Monday morning. It was the first thing that I saw on my feed, on my timeline, and sisters were emoting. You know what I'm saying? They were very much emotional. They were in their feelings, you know, and this is how the day started. I thought that I was going to get some updates about Irma and the destruction that it's done to certain parts of Florida. But instead of having the Mother Nature raging, you know what I'm saying, I saw images of this young girl's mother raging, okay, on TV. And she was speaking about the non-cooperation that she was getting from Chicago authorities. She was very upset that, you know, her baby was gone. You know what I'm saying? That some sort of unforeseen circumstances had led to this young child losing her life. Those circumstances are still somewhat sketchy. You know, the funny thing, and not funny in regards of humor, funny in regards to saying, you know, a level of skepticism, is that almost everything that we've seen thus far on Facebook Live, even though it's broadcast, it's visual, it's live, we can't ever seem to get to the underlying facts of what it is that we're looking at. So in this particular case, yes, it has been told that if you turn the audio down a particular way, or they have had some audio engineers tweaking the footage, and you could hear that there were some level of complicit conversations about a sexual assault taking place, and the people in the room or her quote-unquote friends, you know, and we have to use that term very loosely, especially in the social media age. What constitutes a friend? Why would they even still be calling the young ladies involved in this particular situation this young lady's friends, if those are suspects in her murder? So they're saying that they can hear audio in the background that suggests that people in the room may have been, you know, witnesses to a crime, of which they chose to ignore, and they turned the audio up. So anybody that has an investigative mind, or anybody from the streets that understands and knows what a setup looks like and smells like, they're like, oh, this young girl must have got set up by her quote-unquote friends, all right? And whoever they was in the company of in that particular room, these young boys, they was preying on a young girl, you know, and they took sex from her. And eventually, whatever circumstances took place afterwards, the young girl ended up dead in the freezer, all right? And again, if that wasn't bad enough, the circumstances surrounding them finding the body was sketchy, and then the activity of the police afterwards have been very sketchy in regards to their non-participation in wanting to track down suspects or cooperating with the mother, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's all sorts of accusations being thrown out. This is bringing a lot of conversations to the surface, like you said, in terms of organ harvesting, the sex trafficking, you know, just the overall nature of, or the promiscuous nature of children, you know, in the social media world, because they said that some people on a video, or they're saying that some images on a video might suggest that they were observing somebody giving head in the background. You know, they don't know whether it was the young girl or not. So they was pretty much churning up in the hotel room with their peoples. You know what I mean? And they were broadcasting it to the world. You feel me? And I just hope that whatever did happen, you know, we're able to get to the bottom of it. You know what I'm saying? And we're able to get some justice for this young woman's family. However that you mitigate justice, whatever it looks like to you, I hope that we get justice for this young woman and her family.
Why does it seem these grotesque crimes happen on Facebook Live? We got a lot of streaming services. You got YouTube, you got Periscope, you got Instagram. For some reason, when somebody's about to commit a crazy crime, they go to Facebook Live. And you see, the past few years, we've seen the craziest ish on Facebook Live. What is it about that platform?
We've seen the craziest things on Facebook Live. Outside of those other mediums that you've mentioned, you know, Facebook has the most promising, should I say, ability to become what we might recognize in the future as network TV. And we can see the evidence of that by LeVar Ball taking his TV show to Facebook. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, you know, as you and I know, you know, there's some things going on with YouTube. So we don't know what the future of YouTube will look like. But Facebook has a very promising future in regards to network. There's longer streaming on Facebook. I don't know if it differentiates it from, you know, from Instagram or YouTube. You can go live from your phone. You got to have a YouTube account. It's a little bit different. So Facebook is integrated. Their live stream is integrated directly into their social media. You can pretty much do anything that you want these days. You can bank on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to leave your home. You know, you could shop on Facebook. You could do a lot of things directly from Facebook. I didn't think that it was the preferred mode of communication for people in that demographic anymore, for teens or what have you. I thought that they were snapping.
Right.
I thought
That's
that
what
they was on Instagram or what have you. But we see everything, especially the things that we would rather not see, coming directly through Facebook Live. You know, and then Facebook Live also has a policy where they're saying that this particular tape didn't denote any crime taking place, so they're not even taking the video down.
Wow, you serious?
Yes. So this video has been viewed almost in the upwards of 10 million times. I'm sure by the time this video airs, it will be viewed in the upwards of 10 million times. So think about how that is exasperating the grievances of this family, to know that the last moments of your baby's life are being viewed by so many people around the world, and now everybody's trying to crack this case. But people are also, you know, again, we live in a voyeur culture. Why are people watching this film? Why are they watching this video? Why are they watching this tape? When I heard the story, I was disturbed. I didn't want to go nowhere near the story for the first couple of days.
Yeah.
It was popping up on my feed, and again, Facebook has a tendency, you scroll over something, it should start playing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's crazy, right?
So yeah, like, they're forcing it in your psyche. You dig what I'm saying? But, you know, people want to see for whatever reason. You know what I mean? So it's been viewed in the tens of millions of times, and it has spawned an entire industry of, like I said, sleuth detectives and people on YouTube that have made their commentary, and we're making commentary as well, so I'm not knocking nobody that has made commentary, because again, like I said, what it shows me is it has brought forth a level of sentiment, especially with women, where they're very upset and their voices are being heard, unlike anything that I've seen before. I haven't even seen this much coverage, you know, that our people were giving on Harvey and Irma and Jose. You know, Irma was out the window once this story hit. It took over the timelines. You know what I'm saying? It took over the news feeds. And the women are very much disturbed, especially the young women, because this speaks not only to social media, but social dynamics, who your friends are. You know what I'm saying? Who these people that you coming around, who these niggas is that you know, that your daughters and you know, your sisters and what have you, who they keeping company with. You know, and the ratchet shit that's taking place behind closed doors. So I'm glad that we at least have an opportunity to talk about things that are really taking place, that otherwise they always get swept under the rug or they behind the curtains. So these conversations, they're not taking place up front with people confronting their children like, are you participating in this type of behavior? You know what I'm saying? Are you turned up like this? Is this what ratchetness is all about? God damn it, turn that Cardi B up. Nah.
Blue, for the parents that, you know, there's a lot of people that, you know, we did a video yesterday and we talked about we live in an anything goes culture, and it's, you know, the stuff you could see now is kind of insane compared to what you would see 10, 15, 20 years ago. For the parents, or not just parents, but for the people that blame the culture on this, reality TV, music on this, is that being a lazy parent? Is that just being lazy by pointing to the media and blaming the media for the way children are, because we should be responsible for our own children?
we come from a generation, right? Latchkey children, okay? Our peer group, the majority of them, majority of mine, I'll speak for myself, they were raised by television, you know? But there were different dynamics at that time. Like, your child might have been raised by soap operas. Your child, you know, unfortunately, might have been raised by Jerry Springer, you know what I'm saying? You know, at worst, you know, your child might have got some Howard Stern in their system. You feel me? But because of social media, all right, because of the internet, yes, there's a level of access. Again, like you were saying yesterday, when the floodgates open and we're in this information age and you have access to any and all things, you know what I mean? If they slick enough, they could get on the dark web and go into these black rooms, these dark rooms or what have you, and see, you know, people getting snuffed out and child porn and whatever your sickness is, all right? There's a live feed for it somewhere in the world, and you can access it in real time. And if you don't get it in real time, you can get the stream. Okay? So yes, the level of sickness, the accessible sickness has ticked up that much more. And the fact that, you know, the children that are that much younger are on tablets, you know, for either entertainment or educational purposes, or they have the power of their phones. They know how to work phones. You know, young children who are curious, right? Because hormones are going to hit. They're going to get sexually curious. They're hearing things in the music. They're hearing things in the classroom. They're hearing things in their own household. They're in the fishbowl, okay? They're in the fishbowl surrounded by an amphitheater of ratchetness. So these conversations are filtering through their minds, all right? And they're going to be inquisitive, and if they do want to inquire, if they do want to do some research, they can go directly to it. And it's only but so much you can do. Even if you put in filters on your personal devices, I'm sure that they're savvy enough to get around that at some point and get access through somebody else. So yes, the accessibility is, you know, the children are in that much more danger, okay? If the children are able to exert a level of discipline where they're listening to their parents, or they're saying, look, I'm too young for that, I don't want to expose myself to that, then that child, you know, fortunately will be saved from that experience. But chances are, we're talking about children now. You know what I mean?
Right.
The children are going to be curious. The children are going to look. You know what I'm saying? The children, they can get access to whatever form of, you know, whatever weird shit is out there. I don't want to start naming names and giving you some ideas, you know, because your children might be looking at this and they might go straight to the search engine. So I ain't going to even talk about midget on midget and all. I ain't going to go there, you know? But it's some weird shit online. And they got access to it. And there's some weird shit that's going on, you know, the conversations that's taking place, how we talk to one another, right? How people's sexual appetites are packaged and sold to the rest of the world as entertainment. Like, keep this in mind, okay? The children are going to school 7 or 8 in the morning when they're turning on the radio, okay? Bodak Black, Bodak Yellow, and, you know,
real quick, remember back in the day when they played the curse words? The artists had to change. Beep them out. They had to change the actual words.
They used to have to beep them out. You know what I'm saying? Or they would have to have a radio friendly
version
of their songs.
They don't have that.
That's
anymore.
no longer
they don't have radio
in rotation. The radio don't require that. I remember that they used to only have songs with curses in them during the mix shows, 5 o'clock free ride and stuff like that. You hear that now 8 in the morning. You hear that 9 in the morning. So the children are hearing what the parents are playing on their way to school. And then they're hearing the same music when they get to school. And then they're surrounded by what that music produces, or what those conversations produce in the minds of young children, right, who are ratified. And they bring that energy to school. You know what I'm saying? And these conversations are taking place. And God damn it, I was in 4th, 5th, 6th, shit. We started getting busy in the 2nd grade. All right? Young girls were letting you touch it. You feel me? It was getting crazy in the 2nd grade. So I can't even imagine what's taking place out there, especially if they have gay education in kindergarten. So if school is recognizing that they could talk to your child about sexuality in kindergarten, all right, then it would beg to differ that, you know what I'm saying, these children must be sexually attentive or even thinking about something of that nature that, okay, let's say that they previously didn't know about it, goddamn it, well, now they know about it. I wanted to have a show strictly where we talk to children, especially those who grew up on the Kardashians, about, well, what do you think about Bruce Jenner becoming Caitlyn? You know what I'm saying? How do you filter that through your 6-year-old consciousness? Because I had to have this conversation with my nephew. All right? So I know that it's a conversation worth having. And I'm very much interested with knowing how do children, how do babies, how do adolescents juggle these concepts in their minds? When, if I'm in society and I'm blown away by the shit that I'm seeing, and I have very few people that I can, you know what I'm saying, logically have a conversation with it about, what are the toddlers talking about? You know what I'm saying? And how they factor in it. And if I haven't heard a love song, goddamn it, in 15 years, especially one in hip hop, you understand? Who makes music for children anymore? Because the children artists is turned up. Right? Think about Ray Schmurda and them when they came out. You know, they was little teeny tots. But they was talking about grown-up concepts and topics.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? Who makes, I'm looking at Kodak Black's videos. You know, XXXTentacion came out with a video today. You know, they got babies in it. He's hanging a toddler in the video. You know what I'm saying? So these are videos that are not only inclusive of toddlers and babies in them, but they're marketed to them as well. Because they're going to gravitate towards that at some point. Who's making music specifically for them? When I grew up, we had Fresh Prince specifically was targeting the children. I remember I went and seen him at a Nintendo convention and everything. Like, they had specific artists that were catering towards the babies, and their content was catering towards the babies, and they didn't cross over. We had Crisscross. You know what I'm saying? We had Little Bow Wow at some point. You know, even his topics was a little sketchy at some point as well. But, you know what I mean? For the most part, the children had artists they could look up to call their own. You feel me? You know, they turned out Justin Bieber. Like, come on now. Who the babies got?
Last question, Blue. What advice would you have to parents? Because, you know, I don't know if it's exactly true. I didn't investigate the story fully, but they're saying that her friend set up for $200. You're talking about,
right.
We're talking about ratchet, grimy friends. We're talking about culture, music, television. If a parent out there tells their children, I want you to stay away from the computer because there's a lot of bad things on there. I want you to stay away from that radio because it's not good for you. I want you to stay away from the TV because it's brainwashing you. I don't want you celebrating Christmas because of, for whatever reason, eventually that child's going to think, yo, my parent is bugging out. Yo, they won't let me do nothing. They won't let me participate in society at all. They're going to think you're the worst parent in the world.
Right.
How does a parent navigate around that, my brother?
Suppression, like we were saying yesterday.
Yeah, the suppression. And they might rebel.
The suppression often leads to a level of rebellion.
Right.
You know, we hear this story often.
So what's their way around
the
that,
children
man?
Who grew up in very strict environments, in controlled environments, and when they got an opportunity to get outside of that control, you know, and this is not for every one of them, but for the majority of them, they lashed out. You know what I'm saying? They acted out, you know? And the dynamic is that much more harder today because, again, putting those levels of restrictions on a child is literally like saying, look, you're going outside with blinders on.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Earmuff headphones to block out all of the noise, okay? And you can only go from that corner and come back. And that's not the world that we live in today. So, again, our children exist within this fishbowl, this amphitheater of ratchetness. You know, if it's not in the home, you're going to get it when they come outside with the speakers blasting and blaring.
Right.
You know, you're going to get it when you're surfing, you know what I'm saying, online, even when you're going to watch, even if it's Christian-based content that you got them looking at on the tablet. You know, the suggestions might pull up something ratchet. You feel me?
Right.
And the way that people clickbait, you know what I mean? And not even that, like, I'm telling you, you know, I was at my shorty house and the baby had the tablet, you know, and I'm hearing commentary come from the tablet, you know what I'm saying? And the person's voice I can hear is an older man, but I tell him, man, what's sweet? So I go and I look at what the baby's looking at, and I'm telling you, they got a diabolical plan out there to put particular visuals and a particular energy in front of these children to normalize their entire thought process, where this is who they're used to getting information from.
Damn.
And my whole thing is like, there's a lot of actors out there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of ways that you could deliver information to babies. Why would you put somebody who's not interested in having babies in front of a baby to deliver this information and to entertain a child? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot that's going on that if we wanted to be responsible enough, right, we need to be looking into buying one of them islands, God damn it, for the Lolo that just got destroyed, rebuild it, fortify it, put some missile defense up around that bitch so you could keep everything and everyone out while you raise your babies at least for 15 to 20 years without no interference. And that's the only way that I foresee that we're going to be able to raise some children in a controlled environment that we can say, look, before we send you out to Ratchetville, we're going to make sure that you have all the tools necessary so you can make the most concise decisions on your own that are not influenced by the magazine that you're reading, you know what I'm saying, by the news feed that you come across, by the social media stream that you belong to, okay, by your friends in school, by what you think is cool, you know, because the majority of what we think is cool, again, is part and it's a derivation of death culture. And the death culture is not only something that has visited our culture. As we spoke about yesterday, you know, these dudes that are coming into this music industry, and we're saying, look, you know, they're not only self-identified savages, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of Satanism taking place. However, that sits with you, you know, because, you know, I got some inboxes from some occultists that was taking issues with the fact that we were saying that the children was into Satan worship, as if they're like, well, would you rather them be into Jesus worship? And I'm like, I don't even know why we have to pick one between the other. You know what I'm saying? What about ancestor worship? Like, why does that get knocked so much? You feel me? Why is there a million YouTubes against that? But you niggas don't want to say nothing about the Satan worship or what have you. And these children ain't raised off Bobby. I'm not trying to hear all that. They telling me that, you know, little Uzi Vert 444 plus 222 is his 666, and they on a Bobby Hemming. I ain't trying to hear that.
Nah, definitely.
They ain't on a Bobby Hemming.
They definitely
not.
No.
All right. You feel me? They're on a Marilyn Manson version of their Luciferian agenda and their Satanism. And I don't know whether it's, again, a protracted plan to lead them to enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is their way around Christianity that's going to bring them to where they need to come to, you know what I'm saying, so we could build this model community we keep talking about. But what I am saying is that if we wanted to be serious about protecting our children from these elements, you know, there's gonna be a lot that we're gonna have to start taking away, because you have to look at the elements as nefarious. You have to look at these elements as not in the benefit of your children. They're not healthy. All right? They're not healthy. It's just like if you decide to take McDonald's away from your child, and unfortunately you introduce chicken McNuggets to your baby, and your baby really loves chicken McNuggets. You know what I'm saying? But you seen what the health. And you can't live with yourself knowing that this child who you are investing time, money, and energy into, right? Because ultimately, when you get old and elderly, this child is going to have to be the one that's looking after you. So you're investing in your own future, not only with this being the progenitor of your bloodline, but also hopefully the person that's going to look after you when you need the help. You know what I'm saying? If that person is broke up, if that person is sick and hurt, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be a parent burying their child, all right? Not only from gunshots and bodies being found in the freezer out here, but also from diabetes, from cancer, from lupus, from hepatitis, from Lord knows what else is going on, you know, out there with this this cancerous food. You understand? So same way that you would take the food away from your baby because you want them to become a healthy, able-bodied person, you know, grown folk, it's the same way that you have to protect their psyche. We pay a lot of attention to the body and not enough to the mind. What is going on in these children's psyche? Okay? Where righteousness and savagery has turned exactly into that, into savagery. You feel me? And how are you going to propagate it or push forward a society and the peoples with savage behavior? You know what I mean? I don't know how you're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how these children are going to become the leaders of tomorrow. I don't know how these children are going to become the homeowners of tomorrow. I don't know how these children are going to become the CEOs of tomorrow. I don't know how they become the politicians and all.
Blue,
what are we investing in?
Is it a culture thing where, let's say, a billionaire like Steve Jobs, when he was alive, like he said he wouldn't let his children play with the iPad.
Right.
Is it easier for somebody who comes from his culture to just listen to their parents than, let's say, a billionaire like Diddy? He's telling his kids, I don't want you to have the iPad, and their perception or their mindset is totally different from a Steve Jobs child. Is it a culture thing, you think? You get what I'm saying? Where it's harder for our children to stay away from pop culture, but Steve's child, it's not hard for them to stay away from pop culture. They're able to listen better.
We're the number one consumers of that form of entertainment.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? On record, you know, statistically, white children, if that's what you're talking about, they more so use those things for educational purposes to begin with. And they have a track record of being very entrepreneurialistic when it comes to utilizing those devices.
That's a great point. Yeah.
You know, I just read an article today about a 12-year-old who has $1 million business selling buttons on Amazon.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And he got the whole new technology where he can automate the button making process, and he's going to be part of Walmart's automated service. Damn. You know, customized automated service. So he's about to touch, you feel me, a few milli off of making buttons.
Yeah, that's dope.
You know?
That's dope.
And it's not only European children, we're talking Asians, we're talking Africans. You know, Red Pill speaks about this often, about the digital divide. We no longer have the digital divide per se in our community because we have the gadgets. You know what I'm saying? But what we do with the gadgets is totally different. So especially somebody like Diddy, okay, who has their foot in entertainment, them telling their children not to entertain entertainment or different mediums or modems of entertainment, he gonna look crazy. You feel me? He gonna look crazy. But somebody like Steve Jobs, who has a foothold in technology, you know, but also has certain inclinations towards health, yeah, I'm sure that if he told his children something, you know, his children might have a tendency to listen to him a little bit different and fall in place. You know what I mean? Then maybe our children will. Our children, we don't have the same relationship when it comes to health to begin with, to be telling our children about radiation. That's not a conversation that takes place in our community.
At all.
You know what I'm saying?
Pseudo.
Right.
Pseudo.
Europeans have a history with radiation. They could talk about the sun and talk about radiation. You know what I'm saying? They could talk about cancer. They could talk about the research. You know, they can steer their children towards some of the top researchers or doctors in that field. They could put them on the phone with them. More than likely, that's part of their peer group. You know, we don't have that same relationship. So you're trying to convince your child of an entire science that's not supported by anything that's around them, anything that they know about. Okay? I had a post about this the other day about, you know, how the children are going to sleep with the tablet. The children are doing everything with the tablet, let alone the phone. The children putting the phone up to their ear. I still seeing women putting phone on their breasts, right? They don't got pockets, so they'll put the phone right up here. You know, this is your breast is your softest tissue. You know what I'm saying? The child's skull isn't totally formed. It hasn't coalesced and formed all of the way at the age of 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Even at the age of 2 and 3 years. But they got tablets up to their face and to their ear. They got phones up to their ear. You know what I'm saying? So, because no European has told you that these phones have extreme levels of ELFs and radiation and they're cancer causing and tumor causing, then we don't see any cause or any need or alarm to say, look, this is something that we shouldn't be doing each and every day, and we damn sure should not be allowing our children to be doing this. You know what I'm saying? So again, if we're going to be concerned with our children's well-being, not only who they're hanging out with, not only what boys they're fornicating with, you know what I'm saying? Not only what music they're listening to, not only what they're eating, not only what they're being fed in school, all right? Because so many of us, again, so happy, you know, they want to ban. Look, they want to turn the NFL off on Sunday because of Kaepernick. But you want to send your child to school on Monday to learn about Columbus and all of the other self-perpetuating racists, okay, that are the cause for the very thing that Kaepernick is protesting. And then you want to glow when a baby get an A+ in that shit. All right? And look, disclaimer, I be celebrating my nephew and his scholastic achievements, and I have nieces and nephews, you know what I'm saying, that I love when they excel, you know what I mean? Even though the majority of what little man is excelling in is mathematics and sciences to begin with, you know what I mean? And he was on a 3rd grade reading level when he was like 4 or 5, you know? And that's based on what his mother and his father and his grandfather and his uncle was teaching him. So he was getting taught outside of the classroom, and every time he would go into a classroom environment, he would do his thing. Okay? So he's the top of his class, and, you know, and that's been consistent. But we need to celebrate our children. You feel me? But we also, you know, there's not enough out of the classroom education taking place. We don't put enough stock on that I see. You know what I'm saying? We don't have enough extracurricular activity for these children outside of these classrooms where we could really test their acumen with them knowing the things that they need to know in this world to de-educate them from that bullshit that they're being taught. All right? 12 years a slave.
Leave your contact info.
Blue Pillar 44 on IG, apparelnormal.com, Soul Gold Biz, SOLEGOLDBIZ.com for the liquid minerals. Okay? But yeah, we're gonna leave it at that. Peace, love, and light. If you need to shoot me an email about any inquiries, I got a new one. That's bluepillar44 at gmail. All right? Bluepillar44 at gmail for any inquiries in regards to any speaking engagements, any business opportunities, any wholesale prices that you might need. Holla at us. Peace. Peace.
Peace, family. Peace, family. This is Brother Rich from UGR, urging all my viewers and subscribers to help support the channel by donating just $1 to the UGR PayPal account. We appreciate the viewership and support, and we understand the power of $1. If you benefit in any way, shape, or form, we ask that you donate $1, whether it be monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or yearly, so that we can build our brand to compete